welcome back to another video. And I'm not going to look at y'all because I am driving, and I haven't found the little stand that I want for my car yet. I seen one on Amazon that I think I'm gonna order tomorrow. But anyways, I was coming to y'all because I was listening to the Ricky Smiley morning show today, and the question of the day, or the letter that they received, was about the man you meet disciplining your kids. I don't think it was about your husband. I think it was about dating someone, living with someone, getting serious with someone, and a guy. They were mainly talking about a guy, and can he discipline your kids? So everybody feels all kinds of different ways about this. Some people say you shouldn't put your hands on other people's kids and stuff like that. Discipline does not always mean hitting. Discipline does not always mean getting physical. You know, there's all different forms of discipline. So in my case, and I never really get too personal on here, but I will tell y'all, in my case, my ex-husband, who's both of my daughter's father, he was the disciplinary in the household, and he was their father. So if he spanked them, or if he fussed at them, or put them in timeout or whatever, I never really had a problem with it. He wasn't abusive. I believe in spankings, for the record. If you don't, more power to you, but I do. I believe you got to get popped every now and again to know that I mean business. I did pop. I will pop you. I will spank you if I feel like it needs to be done. And that's just what I believe in. I don't get abusive. I don't leave marks. I don't use weapons. But I believe in spanking a child. I got spanked and I'm fine. In case anybody wondering. I'm not out here writing a book about my abusive lifestyle growing up. It's just ridiculous how people make it out to be. But anyways, now, the husband that I'm with now, he is not their father. I have 3 kids, and he is not their father. I didn't have a problem with him disciplining my kids. I would never let anyone abuse my kids, point blank and period. I would not have had a problem if he would have popped them. You know, just pop them. Because when I met him, baby girl was like 4. And my other baby girl had to be, they're 5 years apart. So she had to be like 8 or 9. And then my son is 5 years apart from that. I have never seen him hit my kids, not even pop my kids. He did discipline them, time out, taking stuff, taking the TV, taking the game. It needs to be done, because your kids grow up whooping your behind. And I watch these TV shows and stuff now, where now they got reality shows, and I guess they think it's funny to make a reality show out of these kids who cussing the mama out and beating up the mom and daddy and stuff. That is not cute. And had you disciplined your child when they was growing up, they would have gained that respect for you. I don't play that. But as the problem that happened in my household is, when I met my husband, he cursed a lot, and it was second nature. It wasn't offensive. It was just second nature. His family, when they talk, they use the language. I had a problem with that part, and my kids had a problem with that part. The reason why I had a problem with that part, I didn't grow up like that. I didn't grow up being spoken to that way by my mother or my stepdad, who I don't call stepdad, but my real father was not in my life, or by my father, my bonus father. I'll say that so y'all know I'm talking about my stepdad. My bonus father. We got spankings, we got timeout, we got punishment, we got TVs taken away, we got games taken away, we got all kinds of stuff that we couldn't do. My mom did slap me one time. I don't even remember what I said, but I remember she slapped me. Whatever it is, I must have needed to be slapped. That was the only time I would say it was a physical thing. I mean, spanking is spanking. When we got up to a certain age, I remember we would get a choice. It's like, do you want to spank it, or do you want to be on punishment? And it depended on if you had something going on that weekend. You know, if you had something going on, or you wanted to go somewhere that weekend, you need to take the spanking. And we didn't get brutally beat with bats and stuff. You know, it was a spanking on your behind, or you could do punishment. So my husband now, the problem with him was the language. I didn't mind him yelling at them. I didn't mind him fussing at them. Like I say, he never put his hands on them, but he would curse. And so I didn't like that part. And my kids didn't really grow up that way, so they didn't like that part. And then with my mother being in the ministry, she definitely didn't agree with the language. You know, a lot of Christians don't, you can't use no language. And what happened was, as the kids got older, they would lean on my sisters and my mother, and so then they began to make an influence in the household, and that's where the problems came into as well, because I don't like people coming into my household trying to direct what goes on in my house. I don't go direct. I can handle it. I'm a big girl. I don't go direct what goes on in your house and who you got running up and through and out through your house. So don't direct what goes on in my house. So I don't like the third party in your house. My mother would talk to me, and that was fine. She never went to my husband. She would talk to me, and that was fine, because I felt the same way she felt. I didn't like it. We didn't grow up that way. I took it as offensive. My husband did explain to me and my parents, like that he doesn't, that's the way he talked. And it has gotten better over the years, and we worked it out. But I'm just saying, it was the way he talked. He didn't mean anything bad by it. That's the way he been talking all his life. It's like somebody with an accent. I got an accent. That's the way I talked all my life. Now you want me to not have an accent. So he worked on it. We worked on it. He worked on it. And he still slips up and he curses every now and again. Sometimes he gets a little happy with it. But it's not offensive. It's not towards us. And he tries to be very, very careful around the girls. And now we've been together 13 years. So this is old. This is like when we moved in together, became serious, moved in together, and was actually like living together day to day to day. But discipline. I did not mind him disciplining them. I did not mind him taking their phones, taking the TV, taking the game. I did not mind him doing that, because first of all, you cannot, emasculate? Like tear down a man. You can't bring him down. You can't bring down the respect for him. If you bring down the respect for him, then he doesn't have the respect of being a man in that household, and he plays a role. He plays a role in the kids' life, girls or boys, as a father figure. Now, my oldest daughter, not to get too personal, ended up moving out early just because she just didn't like being there. And she had her own issues with that. And it wasn't, to me, so much about him cursing and stuff, because I used to get on him about that. To me, she was a daddy's girl. She was older when me and her dad split, and she was never going to accept nobody but her dad. And then her dad broke off all communication, and I think she took that out on everybody. And that's just the bottom line. And he still doesn't communicate with my girls, the real dad. So I think the oldest girl took that out on everybody. I could have met Michael Jackson, and she still wouldn't have approved of him. And that's just the way it was going to be. But I personally believe that if you get with a guy and y'all actually living together for years and years and years, he paying bills, you paying bills, y'all in the same household, you have to allow him to be able to be a man. I would not have mind, like I said, if my husband would have like popped, if the kid would have did something, he popped him on the hand, or even popped him on the butt and said, don't do that, because I had a lot of glass tables, whatnots, and my kids were trained like, you don't touch stuff, don't touch this stuff, and if they touch it, they get popped. I wouldn't have had a problem with it. He never did it, but I wouldn't have had a problem with it. I feel like whatever man you allow into your life and home with your children and you, and y'all gonna make a life together, you should trust that man enough to know that he's not going to hurt your children. Now, yes, I've seen news stories. I live in the same world y'all live in, and I know sometimes we let a man in and he ends up doing all kind of stuff to your kids. You have to watch who you let in your home, and you have to watch for signs. And I'm not talking about that part. I don't even want to get into that part. What I'm talking about is a decent relationship, a decent man, takes care of the family, pays bills, make sure y'all got everything. He's not the kid's father, but you need to allow him to discipline the kids. If you don't want him to spank your kids or hit your kids, then you need to allow him some other type of disciplinary action, because this is the man that they're going to look at to for a male figure. Not only that, you don't want this man to lose the sight of being a man in his own home, where he lay his head and where he pay bills at. I look at it this way. You want the bills paid, and the kids want Christmas gifts, and they want birthday gifts, and you want him to buy you gifts, and you want him to be a man, and you want him to do repairs in the home and fix stuff and change a tire, and the kids break down, and I send my husband out to go get them and go get them off the side of the road, all kinds of man things, but you don't want him to be a man when it comes to being a disciplinary to the children. Okay? So I feel like whether it's physical or not, you have to allow a man to be a man in the household. And if that calls for disciplining the kids, taking the PlayStation 5 away for 3 days, putting them on punishment, they can't go to a party, they can't have their cell phone, they can't go to their friend's house, whatever the disciplinary action is, I feel like if this is a steady man that you are living with and you've been with for years and y'all are living together, you brought him into your home with your kids, you cannot allow your kids to just abuse this man and treat this man any kind of way. He's gonna walk. He's not gonna stay because he's not allowed to be a man and he's not being treated like a man. If you don't want your kids disrespecting you, he don't want your kids disrespecting him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know if Ricky's back on.
Come over here and go play Little League football, and that'll toughen you up a little bit, because I was always up under my grandparents, and that changed my life. So I end up getting into sports where athletics just changed my whole life. But to have the emasculation of men is so terrible. It is so disrespectful, and I see it run rapid through families. I watch women, how they treat Little League football coaches that come out of their own pocket. They pay for kids. They pay for their uniform. They buy them food because some of them be hungry. They don't have nothing. And you got to deal with all this attitude and why my son ain't playing and this, that, and the other. And these coaches don't get paid to do that. And sometimes it can be so disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? These girls need dance. You know, let the girls be around the men, and let the men sit down and develop a relationship with the girls and boys if they in a relationship with you, or if they trying to be a good, wonderful uncle. I'm only trying to be what my grandfather and my uncles was to me, to my nieces and nephews. But it don't work out all the time. But I was thanking God yesterday because I had tears in my eyes. I said, man, one thing about God, man, God is a God of restoration. Everything that you don't have and everything that that's been bad to you and been hurtful to you, God will replace it. Because, boy, when I tell you I got some nieces and nephews that's not even blood related to me, they be like, hey, Uncle Ricky, how you doing? Come over here. I got a brand new house. I went and looked at my mentee. One of my mentees, her and her husband, they young, they 30, they got a brand new house, and go over there and they walk.
So what Ricky was talking about was a lot of his biological nieces and nephews and stuff don't deal with him anymore because they don't like the way he would discipline them when they would come to his house. And I'm that way too. When my nephews come to my house, it's by my rules. I will discipline my nephews. I will discipline my nieces. If you don't like the rules of my house, then don't come to my house. So a lot of his family has disowned him. He's got nieces and nephews he haven't seen for like 5 years because they fell out when they were younger because of his disciplinary procedures.
Take a second look at how we treat anybody, man or woman, that's trying to step up to the plate and do the right thing, and stop using people when you need things when it's convenient to you, and do the right thing and be respectful and encourage the relationship when somebody is going out of their way and doing things that they don't have to do. Nobody owes you nothing. Nobody have to do anything for you. Anything that somebody do for you and give to you, you should be thankful and have some humility.
Okay, so I think he's went on to another subject, or he's on the back end of what he was talking about. But yeah, so you guys let me know what you think about your mate, male or female, because some men have custody of their kids, disciplining their kids. Now, I did discipline my husband's kids when we used to get them, and his baby mama would have a fit. I never spanked them, but I would turn off the TV, take the game, and whatever. Like, you ain't gonna talk to me no kind of way because I'm not your mama. I'm not your real mama. That's not gonna happen. And he would get on them. If they said something to me slick or whatever, he would get on them. And she couldn't stand that. So she stopped them from coming. And it is what it is. But I wasn't going to let them sit in my house and talk to me any kind of way either. So let me know what y'all think. I'm about to pull in to work. I'll be waiting.